Hey everyone, welcome to the asynchronous meeting for December. I figured that this is the busiest month of the year for everyone, so this would be a good meeting to talk about our take action projects and also just introduce myself as a coordinator. If you haven't met me, I know a lot of you haven't been to a meeting yet. So I was just going to introduce myself and then talk a little bit about the Take Action projects. So about me, if you haven't met me yet, or if you have and you forget, my name is Maria Pickerel. I am a public information specialist with the Ohio Division of Forestry, which is one of the many divisions here at ODNR. This is my second year running ConTAC. Um, yeah, and so this is sort of how I got into my career. We spend a lot of our meetings doing sort of career talks and talking about career pathways into green jobs. Mine was a little untraditional. So yeah, I grew up as like a national park kid. My parents were super into glamping and hiking. We took our camper all over the East Coast. Yeah, I grew up going to a lot of national parks all over the U.S. I was a huge national parks passport kid. And I always was super inspired by outdoor educators and like even like historical interpreters and tour guides. I always definitely had an interest in that kind of stuff. But by the time I had been in high school and was considering what to do after graduation, I definitely heavily considered environmental science, but I actually went more the humanities route, and I went to Capital University in Columbus, Ohio, which is a small liberal arts school. And I double majored. Well, going into college, I was double majoring in music and in communications. I ended up dropping the music degree and just finishing with communications and public relations. But yeah, that was sort of my college experience. And then obviously COVID hit when I was in college. Um, and During COVID, a lot of my classes were online. And so I just decided to take a semester off and do this program out of a college in Virginia called Semester A Trail, um, which is basically like the only program that exists like it. You can through hike, which is like a continuous hike of a long distance trail within a calendar year. That's what through hike means. You can through hike the Appalachian Trail through this program for college credit. So I transferred there in the winter, the early winter, or sorry, late winter, January is when I transferred in 2021 to do that program. And then I through hiked the whole Appalachian Trail, and I finished the trail. I started in March pretty much, and then I finished in August, and then I was back with like a week or two to spare, and then I started my senior year of college. So that by the time I was wrapping up college, I'd had this amazing outdoor recreation experience where I'd hiked thousands and thousands of miles up the East Coast from Georgia to Maine. Um, and I realized that I was probably not suited for a desk job in a marketing firm. And so I met with somebody that I knew in the outdoor industry and asked them, what my options were if I was going to have to go get my master's, if I wanted to be in the outdoor industry, if I wanted to be in natural resources. And they basically said I didn't need to go get a master's, but I just needed to get some experience in the field to just get my foot in the door. And so when I was about to graduate, I was interviewing with a lot of natural resource and outdoor recreation companies, and I ended up taking a job with Montana Conservation Corps and working with them um, out west. So I actually lived on the Salmon Chalice National Forest in Idaho and did trail work with them for a summer. So that's what that third picture is. Just a picture of me during a day of trail work. So that was my view pretty much every day that summer. Conservation Corps, just as a plug, is super awesome. A lot of states have Conservation Corps programs. They're not all directly trail related. Some of them are more research and field based. But some of these programs, like Student Conservation Association, you can start as early as high school, the summers during your high school years. So I wish I'd known about Conservation Corps earlier. But yeah, I did that program, and then while I was out there, I interviewed for this job, and then I got hired, obviously, and so I moved back to Ohio. Um, and this job has been super fun. I've been in it now for over 3 years. Um, I have a lot of variability in my job. It's still a communications-based job, so my degree is still super relevant to this position. But I am a science communicator, so I do lots of programming with kids. As you can see, a lot of those pictures have little kids. I do that at the fairgrounds. Sometimes we'll go into schools. And then I do like tabling at career fairs and like recruiting. I also plan events. I think my head is blocking it in this presentation, but this bottom picture is like a big event I plan every year. I do a lot of internal event planning. And then also through my job, just as an aside, everyone who works for the Division of Forestry gets the opportunity to do wildland firefighting. And so I got my red card and my 130-190 classes through the division over 2 years ago. And then the last 2 summers, I've gone out west on fire assignments. And I also do prescribed burns here in the state of Ohio. This is like one of my absolute favorite parts of my job. You get to travel. It's really exciting. It definitely breaks up the year for me. So yeah, that's a little bit about me and what I do outside of ConTAC, because ConTAC is like a whole ODNR initiative. It just happened that it kind of fell onto me in the Division of Forestry. So my job is primarily to do outreach and communications for the Division of Forestry. Like I run our social media, I write a bunch of our press releases, and then I do this as well. Yeah. And so this is just a look back on all of our meetings this year. I don't even think I have a picture from every single meeting, but if you haven't been to any of the meetings, this is sort of what they look like. A lot of them are outside in the field doing fun stuff. So if you haven't been to a meeting yet, do your best to make it to some before the end of the ConTAC year, which is June is our last meeting. So we're going to talk about your Take Action projects, because a part of being in the ConTAC program is not just these fun monthly field trips. The goal is to also like make impact on your school or your community. And this program has had a history of having the ConTAC students do these fun projects. So it could be a service-focused project. I have some examples here of like previous ones that students have done. So like litter cleanups, invasive removals, like even like organizing some kind of tree planting. If you guys need more ideas, I can send out some stuff about what students have done in the past, but this is like the service lane. And then there's also an educational lane. So if you have like any particular interests or skills yourself and you feel like you could present on that, or like lead a guided hike, or like teach a group of like Girl Scouts or Boy Scouts about, you can also do that. So you could present on something. You could like do some sort of guided event, like a bird watchers event, something like that. That's also an option, something more educational. Career awareness, you could like attend, we had some students do this last year, attend a career fair like as a booth and sort of present on like green jobs. Or you could talk about it at like your school fairs. I know a lot of schools have career fairs, so. And then the last option you could do is some research. So you could do like all our divisions here at DNR, a lot of them do research. So you could always contact one of our divisions to try to get involved with research with us. The Forest Service also does a ton of research, the Nature Conservancy, local soil and water districts. These are all people you could be contacting to get involved with research. Or you could just do your own project. There's tons of opportunities with research. Last year I had a co-coordinator and she presented this slide. And so this like list here are all different things you can use to assist you in your research. And then the bottom left is actually a lot of these pictures are ConTAC students from previous years doing field research. So with research is in particular, there's sort of like a way in which you want to go about things. So you need to find an expert in the field, you need to find a topic of interest, and then you need to develop your research question. So like, why? Why is this happening? Or I think this is happening because, and then how. So you're going to try to figure out the why, and then yeah, summarize your findings. I'm sure you've all done it before in school. This is a super cool opportunity that some ConTAC students take advantage of. So the Division of Wildlife has an annual wildlife research symposium. This one's going to take place in April, so it's kind of perfectly aligned with when our projects happen. So if you're interested in research and you want to present on it, this is a great opportunity. The proposals for your research are due actually when I've made this whole Take Action project idea deadline. So both of these things are going to be due on February 6th. So you have 2-ish months to come up with an idea. But yeah, I would highly recommend doing this. It's a really good opportunity to go and present. A lot of professionals in natural resources go to listen to the students present, people from OSU, people from other colleges in Ohio. So it's definitely a really good opportunity. Plus, if you're just interested in wildlife, the research being done is really interesting. So I would highly recommend doing that. Project planning. So if you're having a hard time coming up with an idea, you could think of like who you're wanting to impact or involve. So like if you're connected with your school's like High-Y or like Kiwanis Club or like service organization, could you use them in your project? If you're involved in some sort of like environmental science group, can you use them? Girl Scouts, regular Scouts now, 4-H, are any of these groups compatible with your project? What are you going to do? It really could just be a special interest of yours. It doesn't have to be, and it doesn't have to be anything on a really broad scale. Like you don't have to change the world. Like you can if you want to, but like changes can start small. So don't overwhelm yourself with trying to come up with an idea. And then why do you want to do this? And then, yeah, how are you going to achieve the goal? Are you going to have like SMART goals? Who are you being held accountable to? Are you having like a timeline of when this is going to be done, aside from what I'm assigning you? This is some pictures from a previous project. So here you can see like a project planning proposal timeline. One of the former coordinators of ConTAC, he made this slide just as like what you should be looking at hitting with your project proposal just to set you up for success. As you can see, he has the who, what, why, how. He also has a completion date. And then as you can see with his how, he has like clear mini deadlines for himself. I think that's really helpful to keep in mind. But yeah, if this is this was a real thing that they did. They did make some Christmas tree habitat, which the pictures are on the last slide. So yes, this is just an example of how your project proposal for yourself could look like. You're the only one who's really going to see all of that information. So this is the deadline for your Take Action Plan proposal. So your whole project does not need to be done by February 6th, but I want your proposals to me in by then. That's what this QR code is to. It's to a Google form that I've made. There's really not that many questions. I just want you to have in your mind what you're going to be working on. And this is also just to keep you in line with if you want to submit for that research symposium, to have that proposal ready by then as well. But you would need to submit that separately with that QR code I had earlier in the slides. And that is that. These projects don't have to be anything crazy. We just want you to get involved, dive into your interests, and make a little bit of an impact. So if you have any questions for me, you can reach out to me via email. I link my emails on all of those MailChimp correspondences that I send out, so you should have that. And just a reminder that if you have any questions, not to reach out to Abby DiDamasi, who was my co-coordinator last year, because even though she's still listed on the website, she is no longer involved with ConTAC. So if you need to reach out about anything ConTAC related, please reach out to me, not Abby. And then if you have questions about wanting to get connected with people, with like research inquiries, or like if you need to talk to somebody at the Division of Wildlife or H2O Ohio, you can reach out to me and I'll get you connected with those people. And if you have any questions about your projects, just let me know. I hope you all have a good holiday, and I'll see you at next month's meeting. Bye.